Hi, Ava.
Hi, Jaden.
How are you today?
I'm so great. How are you?
So great because I'm talking to you. Like,
Oh
this
my
is
gosh,
such an
same.
amazing day.
This
All
is so
right.
fun.
Yeah, I'm so excited. All right, today I'm chatting with Ava Noble. Ava made her Broadway debut in Juliet. All right.
Somehow, some way, yes.
Let's get started. So, how did your whole theater and dance journey start? Was there like a specific experience that inspired you to begin this art form?
Yeah, so I started dancing at the age of 3. My parents put me in dance class. I was doing gymnastics as well, and it kind of got to the point where, when you're interested in like 2 sports or 2 hobbies at once, you ended up having to pick. So I chose dance. I guess I'm pretty happy with my decision of doing so. And then at my middle school, they would always do like an all school musical every year. So I would audition, and let's see, I was Snoopy and Charlie Brown Jr., and then I was July and Annie Jr., and I was Flounder in The Little Mermaid Jr. So, we bounced around and we had a lot of fun, and I just like truly fell in love with the art of musical theater and performing live theater. But I also like was a dancer who's, I would leave school, and instead of doing like the dance team at school, I would go to a studio and I would train there. And then in high school, I went to an incredible performing arts high school called Booker T. Washington High School for the Performing and Visual Arts. It's a mouthful, but it's in Dallas, Texas. And it's really just a beautiful place where essentially you're doing school for half the day and you're doing academics for half the day. And there was like a theater conservatory, dance, music, visual arts. And that's where I really started to get better, like dance and concert dance, as in like the ballet and the contemporary and the modern world. Because growing up, I didn't have like the best ballet training, but it was all I really knew. But I also loved like so much of the hip hop and like the street style dance. So at Booker T is kind of where I could start to like put all those together. But at that point in my life, I was really only considering like going to school for dance. I never was applying for musical theater, even though I knew, like, if people asked me, I was like still slightly considering the like the concert dance world. I'm going on a tangent here, sorry. Like the concert dance world, but my passion really like lied in musical theater. So yeah, I would do the musicals at my high school, and that's where they would bring in like Broadway directors to come like direct those, and like really reputable, incredible people. So I did a chorus line there, and yeah, some other shows. It was a lot of fun.
Those are great shows that you started off with. You really checked off all the iconic kid roles.
All the back in the day, all the juniors of the musicals.
Yeah, obviously. That's how you start. That's like the origin story of every theater obsessed girl.
Absolutely. But yeah, the musical theater world, it just, like, now looking back, it was a bigger part of my life than I realized, but I was quite embedded in like the dancer world of people who either wanted to go like dance for Ariana Grande on tour or like go dance in Germany in a ballet company. So I felt like very lost as to how to like connect with the musical theater world, just because I was surrounded by like mainly dancers.
You're from Dallas, Texas. Did you come visit New York City a lot? What was your first Broadway show?
Oh my gosh. The first Broadway show I remember going to was School of Rock. I remember, when you watch a Broadway show, sometimes you just start like tearing up because you're just like, I want to be a part of that so bad, but you don't know how. And I was already older than like the kids were in that show, and I was like, ugh, it's past my time. Like, I'll never be on Broadway. All these kids are doing it at like 10 years old. But I remember during School of Rock seeing that, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do. And then my sophomore year of high school, I worked with a choreographer named Sandalio Alvarez at Booker T in one of the musicals, and he reached out to me and hired me to come be his associate choreographer for a production of In the Heights and Newsies. Well, I started with Newsies. I ended up doing In the Heights and On Your Feet as well. So that was my first like regional theater experience. My high school actually let me out of school for, I think it was like 4 weeks, to go and to work at the John W. Ingman Theater in Long Island. So that was a beautiful experience. So I kind of got like a small taste of like living on your own at 15 years old in New York. And like, I don't know, I just remember walking and being terrified the first day and being like, how am I 15 years old right now going to be leading a room of these professionals? And I feel like it kind of like snapped me into place really quickly of how to, you know, immerse yourself in the professional world with professionalism, with kindness and grace at a young age. So then I like would go back in the summer to do, or next following 2 summers to do On Your Feet and In the Heights at that same theater. So I got little bits and pieces of New York. Looking back, I had no idea what I was doing. Like now being on Broadway and seeing like the roles of an associate choreographer, I'm like, I was not doing all of those things, but you know, you live and you learn.
When you weren't on stage in high school, what were you doing?
Oh my gosh, I was at the dance studio, like truly. I mean, I feel like when you really want to pursue professional dance, there's so many, especially like in the ballet world, which I knew was like never my path, but I loved ballet and I trained in it every single day. But those people, like, they don't even go to high school. Like, they're dropping out to either become, this is not everyone, of course, but like a lot of people were homeschooled. I remember, oh my gosh, begging my parents to let me be homeschooled. I was like, I could just train with these people and it'd be so, like, I could improve so much quicker, blah, blah, blah. Looking back, I'm so glad that I had the high school experience that I had because it was such a wonderful place. But so in high school, I would leave school, and then our high school had these things called like reps. It was kind of like different companies, and each year we would audition for those companies, and then our high school would bring in, and keep in mind, it's like a public high school. Like looking back, I can't even believe I like went to this high school for free and was getting so much incredible training. It's so crazy. I mean, you audition to get into school, but it's just a really cool program. They would bring in like incredible choreographers like Peter Chu and Ida Sake and like Garrett Smith, like there's just like so many, and Dwight and Desmond, like from Complexions, for anyone listening who knows the dance world. So then like I think it was like Tuesdays and Thursdays after school we would do rep until like 8 p.m. and then we would have residencies with these choreographers where for like a week or two straight we would rehearse with them every single day after school. And so this is when like your dance studios kind of had to be flexible with you, you know, because you couldn't like be at their dance studio all the time. And by 10th grade, I had stopped being with like a singular dance studio, and I decided it was best for me to just take open classes and train with a bunch of different ones, just because I felt like, oh, this studio would specialize in the ballet, and then this studio would specialize in hip hop, and I didn't want to spend because I did feel like I was like playing catch up on like a real professional training for some reason in my mind. I didn't want to like waste any hours just like rehearsing for competitions and group numbers and stuff, and I just started only competing solos and stuff. But so I would do either rep, and then when it wasn't like a rep day in high school, I would be at the studio just training until I like one thing about me is I'm like a nocturnal. I joke with my friends about like I don't work well in the mornings, but I am so productive at night. So to come home from dance at like 10 p.m. and then start my homework, I was also like a freak about my grades and like loved school as well. So I would just stay up till all hours of the night studying and then wake up and go to school. And I don't know, I feel like I had a lot more energy back then.
So let's talk about the college audition process, because I know the theater audition process. And
Yeah.
is the dance similar? Like, what's it like?
It's similar in the sense that like I feel like you have to do a lot of traveling, but for dance, like we didn't have like, it's called Unifieds, right? So,
Yeah.
there's not a dance Unifieds, if that makes sense. Like, unfortunately, it becomes very expensive and very time consuming because, let's see, so I applied to, I think, probably around 10 colleges. They were all in New York. It was like Fordham, Columbia, Marymount Manhattan, Juilliard, Pace, a few others. And then in California, it was like Chapman, USC, oh yeah, NYU. Anyways, I applied, yes, you do the Common App like application, but then we had like each different school had their own supplements For USC, USC was like my dream top school just because it was such a perfect balance of like, as I've been saying, the concert dance and the commercial dance and the flexibility of like being within a larger research university where you can do minors and you can also have like go to a football game, and it just felt like dance training wise it was like a conservatory within like a larger university. And for them, I submitted 2 contrasting dance solos, so a 1 minute and a 1 minute. And I ended up doing like a contemporary dance solo, and then I did a hip hop dance solo. And then we had to do like a speaking video. I remember it was like, the prompt is like, what does a thought leader mean to you? And how would you be that leader at USC? And I'm just like, oh my God. You know, when you're like filming yourself trying to answer and also sound like a human, but also like know what you're saying. Anyways. I remember that not being too much fun to film. And then we also had like additional essays for that as well. So that was like for USC just to get a live audition. And then we had to go to Los Angeles, and it was an 8-hour audition. We did like a ballet class, a contemporary modern class, hip hop. You did your solo. And then we had this interview where you sat at the table, and then the panel was like 12 people in front of you. And you're just like a terrified little, how old are you? I don't know.
You're 18, 17, 18.
17, 18, yeah. Terrifying. But I don't know. I loved that they like wanted to know you as a person and your goals within like the larger university itself. My high school specifically did this thing called Senior Showcase, which is probably similar to what a lot of musical theater people do, where a lot of dance colleges came to Booker T, and we would each do like a solo and take master classes from them. So I did get accepted into a lot of universities from that, which I'm so grateful for my high school for. But I would say the ones that I was most interested in, for some reason, I typically had to go to each of them separately. Like I remember I drove to Austin, Texas for Chapman, and then I think I flew out here for the Fordham Ailey one. I don't know. It's just a journey.
You graduated college in the Sondheim Theatre lobby. What was that experience like, seeing Stark Sands just like standing at the end of this tunnel?
No, it's like really beyond a dream. I mean, you kind of always envy those people who like booked Broadway straight out of college. I mean, I remember we would see the people doing that as I was in college, and it's just like, how do you make it happen? I am somebody who I'm incredibly determined when I have a goal, and my goal was not to book Broadway as quickly as possible in the slightest. But when COVID hit, I was so determined to train heavily in singing and acting on top of my dance training. So I would like sprint home on my lunch breaks to do voice lessons. I enrolled in every extra voice class just because I remember my first Broadway audition, I think was sophomore year of college. I got a Hamilton callback through self-tape. I ended up going to New York, and I just remember like feeling my heart beating out of my chest and being terrified to sing. So then I was just like, how do I strengthen my singing and my acting just as much as my dancing? Because I've been feeling great when I go to a dance call, and then it's like, it's terrifying, right? So for Angela specifically, they actually came to LA and they made a casting trip looking for a swing because they were adding an additional swing to the company. And I went to that audition, had a wonderful time. And then when I got the call that I booked it, I was just like, what? Like, those things don't feel real. And I had never seen Juliet before. I had only heard the most incredible things about it. And they were like, can you start in 3 days? And I was like, Broadway called, like, yeah, we're gonna make it work, guys. But my USC performance, like our final senior performance of all these choreographers who had been coming in and setting all these long pieces, was like the next following weekend. And it's not like a musical where we really have like this whole big array of understudies and swings. It's kind of just like, let's hope you don't get injured, and like, pray for the best. And so I talked to them and I was like, I don't need to be there for my graduation. I tried to ask, but it was like pretty urgent, the replacement that they needed. But I do have to be here for the show. So they let me extend it like 2 more days, I think. And it was just such a bittersweet moment, saying goodbye to all of my college friends who, like, I don't know when I'll see you guys again. Most of them are not going to move to New York. And then having like all of your biggest dreams come true. It was like the most insane 24 hours of my life. I moved to New York. By that point, luckily, I already had like an apartment in place because I was already planning on moving. Like, I was so sick of my agents being like, we love you and we know that you want to do this, but like you have to be in New York because the casting directors like are not gonna trust that you're going to like drop everything to go. And I'm like, I will, guys, but I'm trusting you. Like, anyways, I was just so ready to get to New York and just be in the thick of it and like, be in the grind and go to class and audition. Anyways, I get to New York. I literally start rehearsals the next day. I have nothing in this apartment, like mattress on the floor, nothing. And then graduation day rolls around, and oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting anything. I had a staging day. I had like an onstage spacing for like Act 2 that day or something. And people kind of knew that was my graduation day, but I was just, oh my gosh, I didn't care about missing graduation. I was like living my dream. Like, it's okay. I can miss the ceremony. My school was still like graduating me. I just had to like write a little bit about what I was doing up there. Because I really only missed like finals week, which is like good and bad because, you know, sometimes that can be like really strict if you're not there for the actual final, but all things worked out. I wasn't in any academics my last semester anyways, because there's like the dance courses. So obviously they understood. Anyways, our stage manager's like, oh, we're gonna have a quick meeting in the lobby after rehearsal. And I'm like, oh, great. Like, this is normal. I don't know. It's my first week. I don't know when they have meetings and when they don't. And I know like Tiernan Tunnicliffe and Megan Kane and Stark, they were just like a big, and Matt Raffi, they were all a big part in planning this like surprise graduation ceremony for me. And one of my college professors, Grayson Kingsbury, was good friends with Haley Bennett, one of our assistant music directors. And Grayson is at USC and Haley's here at the Broadway Theater. So they FaceTimed like me with my class while, you know, they were about to like do the whole graduation ceremony thing. And then Stark, who's also from Dallas, Texas, and also went to USC, like he had already like been such a lovely mentor for me just my first week on Broadway, and we connected so well, and I'm so grateful for him and all the lessons he's taught me. He was the one who like gave me my diploma, and oh my god, I literally remember walking out there and just being like, what, guys, this is so nice, because it was like, you guys just met me, like, you don't have to do this for me, you don't know me as a person. And so just immediately I knew that the cast and the group of people I was joining was going to be so incredibly special and so kind. For them to do something like so selfless just to honor me and my graduation, I'm so grateful for. I mean, I couldn't dream of a more special and beautiful graduation. So shout out to all the people and Juliet that made it happen. Like the pink cape and the pink cap. Oh my gosh! And then they like
Juliet, yeah.
And they sewed like an Anne Juliet like all access pass to it, like as the tassel.
So funny.
And they all signed it. So I have that like framed in my room. It's really special.
What a great memory. That's like, that makes me emotional.
I know, same. It feels like a fever dream.
No, right?
It really does.
Yeah. That would make my like face go red. Like I can feel my face.
Oh
like...
my god, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Anne Juliet, because this is your Broadway debut. So you're a swing. How do you prepare to cover multiple roles in the show? How many roles do you cover?
I cover 6 roles. Our ensembles, we call them like the Juliet crew and the Romeo crew. So I cover the 6 Juliet crew roles. Some of them have lines, some of them don't. They all sing. There's 2 different like harmony parts, like there's a soprano and an alto line. So when I first joined the show in college, I did Carrie at USC, and I was technically a swing for that, but I wouldn't say it was, I don't know. I don't think I was like actually swinging in the sense that I'm swinging. I would say more it was just like an emergency situation, like we'd figure it out over there. But when I got here, I was just like a little imposter syndrome, you know, because I'm like, I've swung, but like have I really swung? Like not when the stage is spinning, not when you have multiple costume changes with dressers, not when like I don't know, the stakes just felt much higher and slightly more intimidating. But I knew I could do it. I knew I just needed to figure out. Everybody just says for swinging, you just need to figure out the system that works for you. There's no one way to do it. But Brittany Nicholas, our dance captain who taught me the show so kindly, like helped give me advice while I was learning the show. Essentially, my process was to have like a journal that I could write in while I was learning the show in the room, where I could be like, this prop, you're gonna put on the red spike mark on the outer revolve. I could write down those things really quickly. Some people use like an iPad for an example. But that for me was just quicker. And then I would go home, I would sit at this exact table, and I would transfer it all to a Google Doc. So now I have a Google document that's probably 10 to 12 pages long for each of those 6 tracks, and it'll be highlighted in green, like in this number you enter in wing 1 with, say, the Eiffel Tower, and then the Eiffel Tower will be highlighted in red so that I remember to bring a prop, and then have all my formation changes, where I do my costume changes. Because one thing about swinging is backstage, you're also like changing in a different spot every day, and you kind of just, my job is to have everybody else's show go as normal, and I can hopefully just seamlessly pop in and pop out as needed. Of course, it's not always as seamless as you hope for when you're first joining the show and mistakes happen, and we're still making mistakes all the time. It's just, it's live theater. But I essentially just had to dive in. Like I really started to enjoy it. I think the first 6 months, 4 to 6 months, it's pretty stressful just because you kind of have that anxiety during the day of not knowing when your stage manager is. Have you seen that TikTok where it's like, I don't know the difference of blah, 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 or if a bear is chasing
Yes, I
me?
made one of those.
Yeah, I need to do that. of saying, I don't know the difference of getting a text from my stage manager or if a bear is chasing me. That's how it was at the beginning. Now that I've been in the show for like, oh my gosh, approaching 2 years, that's crazy. I feel very comfortable with all my different tracks and such. But, I think for swinging, it just takes a lot of discipline and extra studying. Like when the show would be happening, I would be in the lobby learning it, because they only taught me 2 tracks in the studio. And then the other 4 tracks I had to learn just from watching the show, like from the sound booth. So it took a lot of me like slowly sifting through the Broadway show video, and you really just kind of teaching yourself and asking questions as you need.
Yeah. Wow. That's like what stressed me out.
It's a little stressful, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It really is fun. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Is there somewhere like you usually are when you get the text message? Like, do you like find a trend of where you are?
Oh my gosh, I'm like, my phone right now, I just got a text message. Let's see what it says. Okay, so far, I'm not in the show tonight. We'll see. But like last week, for an example, I wasn't scheduled for any of the shows, and I ended up being in all 8 shows. So I think like, you really just never know. Unfortunately, sickness and injury, it's gonna happen in the long running show where we're dancing a lot for 2.5 hours, 8 times a week, and people need to take care of themselves. And yeah, oh my gosh, if I told my younger self that I was getting a text right now to find out if I'm on Broadway tonight or not, I'd be like, no way, that's not real. That's not real.
What's the hardest track that you cover?
The hardest track. Okay, some are more physically demanding. Like I would say the Charmian track that Charlie D'Amelio's in right now, there's a solo that we do like right as the show starts. It's actually technically in the pre-show, and there's 2 versions of the solo that I've done because the music has changed throughout this run of the show. Hence another part of being in a long running Broadway show, things can slowly change over time to help make the show more universal around all the different companies. And let's see, in my first solo, I had to do like a massive split jump, like a double turn, a tilt, and like this back walkover thing. And that's all within the first 30 seconds of a Broadway show. So if you're not like properly warming up, or if you're not awake, but right now we have 1 p.m. Sunday matinees, which is so early it feels to be doing a show. That is one that's just like physically demanding, and that track is like front and center for a lot of the show. And then there's other that are more vocally or like acting wise demanding. Like when I play Juliet's mom, I just think it's a bit of a different mindset when I'm how old am I? When I'm 23 and I'm trying to like age myself as Juliet's mom, I think it's just different acting wise. There's a lot of like yelling and screaming and anger in those lines. So I think vocally, I found that when I've done that track a lot of times in a week, you can find that, your voice gets tired and I just have to find a way to like place things differently. So each track has its own battles and they all kind of balance each other out in different ways.
Who have you gone on for the most?
I've gone on for Rosalind the most, which is typically the Judith track. That's only because the role of Juliet is so vocally taxing where it can be dangerous sometimes for the Juliet to do that 8 shows a week. So often if they take one show off a week, that Judith track is the first cover understudy for Juliet. So therefore she'll move from the ensemble to Juliet, and then me as a swing will move into that role. So I do that role at least once a week. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I just realized, are all of the Anne Juliet ensemble character names Shakespearean like characters?
Oh yes. I am Titania from Midsummer Night's Dream. We have Cross, we have Kemp, we have Gwyn. There's a lot.
I never realized that till like just now. Like
they're
so
all from
cool.
different plays, yeah.
That's like such a good little Easter egg that like
right?
Like, oh.
There are more Easter eggs in this musical than I thought, and I keep discovering more and more of them every time.
I'm gonna ask you about that in like a second. Do you have any fun backstage rituals that you and the cast kind of do every night?
Well, one thing I love about Big Swing is that there's different rituals depending on what track you're in. So sometimes I'll exit wing 2 and I know that this person always loves to give a high five at that point. Or if I'm in this other role, at this point, we always sing like backstage, like the opt up version of whatever's happening on stage. Like, you know what I mean? We have like little funny things we do. And I think that's what's special about being a swing is that I kind of get a taste of, all of those different things. It's the same thing about like everybody's their own warm up spot backstage. And so when I'm hopping around in different tracks, I typically try to like, bounce around to stay out of, everyone's way so they can stick to their routine. So that's fun. Another, wouldn't be a ritual, but like our green room, we're a theater that's very lucky to have a green room like on the same level of the stage. Our green room just always has food in it. I don't know what it is. We all love to bring sweets. We all love to bring treats. And so you'll just find us in between numbers. Like you would think that Broadway actors are probably backstage, like staying zen. Perhaps sometimes that's the case, but we love to hang out in the green room and have a sweet treat, as Kara Rose would say.
I am dying to know if there are any other pop songs that you can put into Anne Juliet, what would it be and who would sing it?
Oh my gosh.
It has to be a Max Martin hit though. It has to be.
Yeah. I feel like, this is newer, but Yes and by Ariana Grande. I don't know. I think it'd be so fun. I don't know what the context would be. David West Reed, our brilliant writer, would probably find a way to weave that in so seamlessly. But come on, it's such a great song.
What's the funniest or most unexpected thing that has ever happened on stage during a performance?
Oh my. Once I forgot to change a costume, which is just tragic. And luckily it's a point in the show where like even our fans who come to the show all the time didn't notice. It's okay. But like, I realized like the split second right before I was about to go on stage and I look at our stage manager and I'm like, I didn't change. And I was like, what do I do? She's like, just go. And I'm like, okay, you just go. I've had like funny ones like that, and I've had some not so funny ones where I've, sang like a sour note on stage, and those just kind of like traumatize you a little bit. But like, again, I remember coming off stage when that happened, and Austin Scott was like, you're gonna do thousands of performances in your life. Your one word that you mess up in front of this group of people it's not the end of the world. It's gonna be okay. That's happened. We've all like tripped and fallen, and I've gone to wrong positions on stage somehow and like had to use the choreography to like quickly get to the right position. And these are all things that you know, or more like when I was first joining the show and figuring things out. And you just realize they tell us swing, cancel, and continue. You can't let it kill your vibe for the rest of the show, or else like your brain power will be so consumed by that rather than like what you're supposed to do next. So I have gotten so much better at like, I'm such a perfectionist and I just wanted to be the most perfect swing who never messed up. I was like, oh my God, they trusted this like fresh college student to come onto Broadway. Like, I can't mess this up. This is my moment, you know? And you just learn to give yourself a little bit of grace, and yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the fresh out of college kids are the best ones to put into the show because they're the ones that are like, this is the only thing that matters to me, nothing else.
Yeah. They're so eager. There were no distractions. None of my friends had moved to New York yet. All I did, I came home and I studied, and I woke up and I studied, and I went to rehearsal, studied in between, and then shows at night. It's the grind. It's the best kind of grind, you know?
No, right, totally. And are there any other hidden Easter eggs in the show that like you just love and you just want to share with everyone?
The horse that's like wheeled out and like kind of makes the carriage move and such. We call him Esther, and you know, he's kind of just like our little pet. I wouldn't say pet. We liked to we gave him a name, and it's there, and he's great, you know.
Yeah, it's like a part of the cast.
Yeah, part of the cast. What else? I mean, the dress reveal that kind of happens on stage is a fun moment of like, it's like our own little secret of like how we make it happen and how it happens on stage, which I think is fun. These aren't really Easter eggs, but like it's kind of like the secrets that, you know, we're not necessarily like can spill, that like the fun stuff about like when Romeo's getting loaded up to the, like we're not allowed to video backstage that happening. So it's fun. It's like these fun little moments we get to see backstage of like the theater magic. It's fun when I go out and watch the show, because now that I've been in the show for a while, you know, I don't watch it as much as when I was learning the show and needed to watch it all the time. But now every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, really is the theater magic. Seeing Romeo come down from the ceiling and everything. It's so fun.
Yeah, and it's like the biggest spectacle on Broadway right now. So like that's Broadway. Like, and Juliet is like what people come to see when they hear Broadway. It's like shiny, sparkly,
that's
pink.
Really sweet.
Amazing. I want to talk about social media quickly.
Yeah.
Because I'm obsessed with your TikToks.
Oh my gosh.
I just love when like actors show their like journey on Broadway in such an intimate way, such as TikTok, even though it's not intimate, because like thousands of people see it, but like for me,
yeah.
It feels like we're on FaceTime.
That makes me happy. Thank you.
Have you found that sharing your Broadway journey has helped you connect with fans and other industry professionals?
100%. I feel like even somebody like Kara, like we've never met in person, but it's to even have that community, just because like posting on TikTok can be so vulnerable, and especially posting on Instagram Reels to me is like SOS. Like it's that thing of like the people I know in real life, like you're not supposed to see that, you know. But but it's been so fun to connect with other people who are trying to break into the industry or work on the backside of the industry or work on stage. I just think it's such a beautiful way to like genuinely meet people. Like I want to meet other like-minded individuals who love this and are passionate about this. And I feel like it's helped really connect me with a lot of people and with a lot of aspiring performers who don't have the access to like fly to New York and see a Broadway show. Or perhaps people who like loved theater growing up and don't want to pursue it anymore and are curious about what happens behind the scenes. And if I can show that to one person who, you know, is aspiring to do that or was interested in that, then like that makes me happy. I think it's also been a beautiful way for a lot of my like college friends who don't necessarily understand, like college friends and beyond and family, you know, everything, who don't necessarily know like what a swing on Broadway is or what Juliet on Broadway is or what I'm doing every day. I just think it's a special way to share what's happening for an art form that can sometimes be like a little bit inaccessible to everyone in the world.
Yeah, I love that answer. I am the target audience.
I'm such a theater nerd too. Well, like I feel like I'm not a theater nerd in the sense that like I grew up knowing who every Broadway actor was. I still don't know that at all. Like I'll be at an opening party and people will be like, let's blah blah blah. And I'm like, ah, like, I'm learning. Like I have to like I'm just still learning and figuring this out. I like just joined this industry. It's an intimidating, crazy world, but also like the most welcoming, beautiful theater world. And yeah, I just feel like TikTok has like helped me navigate the industry. TikTok's like my therapist. Like, you know, if you can learn anything on there. You can learn. Last night when I was doing my self-tape, I looked up self-tape lighting because I was struggling with like this shadow behind my head, and I was like, how do people do it to where it looks the best? You know, it's been, I mean, yes, it can be time consuming and it can take up way too much of my screen time every day, and it can definitely keep me up late at night, but it also can like introduce me to lovely people.
All right, so I have a little rapid fire round that I like to end my episodes with, if you want to play.
Let's do it.
All right, what's your favorite audition song?
Taking Chances by Celine Dion.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's like my pop cut. That's what I auditioned for Juliet with. I've used it for a million like pop rock cuts.
What's your go-to snack when you're backstage during a show?
Skittles.
That's like my favorite candy.
The whole dressing room, like it's just this bit in our dressing room because where my station is, I love restocking our bar and our like snacks in our dressing room just because it's like, I don't know, it's fun. And I have this massive jar of Skittles. I think I go through half that jar every week. And we have this joke where when people take them, I'm like, you have to pay me 75 because it's just a joke because like I eat all the Skittles.
That's me with Nerds Gummy Clusters. Like that is.
We have those in there. They're so good.
That's my jam. I
need a sweet tooth, but I also love like the Chomps like protein sticks if I'm done. And I need some.
And a little sweet, a little salty, something.
Yeah.
What's a dream role you can never see yourself playing?
I'll say I never see myself playing this because I don't see myself playing this right now because I'm too young, but a dream role of mine is to do like Cassie in a chorus line. In this moment in my life, I think I'm a little young unless I were to go do it at like a high school or a middle school theater that I could maybe be like the oldest one. But I would love to do that role someday.
If you can revive any show and star in it, what show would it be and what are you playing?
I would love for them to bring back Kinky Boots, and I would love to be in Kinky Boots. I think that would be so fun.
Yeah,
I actually saw Stark Sands in that show like years and years ago, and I don't know, that would be so much fun. That show is just a blast, and that would be like very full circle to tell Stark. I'd be like, I guess that's what I'm doing. It would be so fun.
What's your go-to song that you're putting on when you warm up for the show?
Oh, Gracie Abrams. I love all of it. Tate McRae. I'm saying artist, but you get the vibe. Tate McRae. I love John Mayer, Jack Johnson, John Legend. And then sometimes we'll just put on like Pussycat Dolls, like something to like really hype us up before we're really tired. But for me, I'm more like the chill vibes.
Mm-hmm. You look like Gracie Abrams. Oh. Like, exactly.
Thank you.
Is there a musical theater song that's always stuck in your head?
My Days, obviously. Man of the House, the Hamilton X Dear Evan Hansen, and it's like We Found Tonight.
Yeah,
that is so good.
Those are great songs to have stuck in your head, honestly.
Yeah. Oh
my
gosh.
Wish those
I'll play them right after this. So good.
No, yeah. I wish they were stuck in my head. Mine is like always, Spelling Bee?
Yeah.
Spelling Bee is always stuck in my head for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. Always. Like, I don't even listen to it that much, but like just for some reason.
Yeah, what's your favorite show?
My favorite show ever. Okay, so basically I break my life into 30 shows. Obviously I have a whole answer for those. I break up my life into 3 shows. When I was younger, I saw Newsies for the first time, and that was when I like became obsessed with theater. I love Newsies. Always my favorite show. I know every single line by heart. It's like embarrassing. Jim and Hansen came out when I was in high school.
Okay.
I was obsessed. That's when I like really felt like
that album, like that when I'm having a good day or a bad day and I put Dear Evan Hansen in my AirPods, I'm like I just feel like I'm in a movie, and I feel like I'm so emotional and like grateful and living my best life.
Yeah, I saw it 5 times on Broadway. I was like obsessed. That's when I like realized that social media and Broadway like could pair together so well.
Yeah.
Like this is what I want to do. And then I saw Parade, the revival with Ben Platt, and I was like, this is what theater could be. Like I didn't realize how much of a educational form theater could be until I saw Parade. And I wrote every single college paper on that musical. And when I went to NYU, I took a musical theater class. I did my final presentation on Parade. And that night I went to see Illinois. And I was walking up from the bathroom, and the writer of the show was like walking down. I was like, oh my God, I just did a whole presentation on you. Like, I was like,
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was like a crazy day. It was like manifestation. Like I wrote papers. Like I wrote a 10-page manifesto on Parade. Like every paper.
That's so beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
That's so crazy because yeah, I mean when you're in the swing of like bad pun intended. When you're like in the thick of doing 8 shows a week, I mean it can be easy to like forget the impact that it can make on somebody sitting in the audience, which I think is like what makes this so special. I've heard so many beautiful stories of like our show giving them hope. You know, we've had somebody who's like, I decided to go back and like do another round of chemo and not give up on my cancer journey after like seeing this show. And it's just like, oh my gosh, when you realize the impact that like live theater can make, I mean, it makes me never want to leave. Like, of course, I have interest in doing TV and film and other career aspirations on top of this, but that's so special hearing that because like who knows, somebody could have been having like the most tired or sick or horrible day during that day they were performing and like had no idea that like the amazing impact it's made on your life.
Yeah, I just like when I'm in the theater, it's like the whole world just like fades away. And it's just the best feeling just sitting there and just watching, especially like because we're so glued to our phones too. Like I think about this when I'm singing in the audience. It's nice to have something. I saw Oh Mary the other day. And for the first, I'm like obsessed with it now. And my eyes were glued to the stage the whole entire time. It's the first time in a long time that I truly felt really like into a show, not like my mind going somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's just like moments like that are like unforgettable all the time. Like it's just so special to have that and to have it accessible to me. Like, because like the lotteries and the rush, like I can enter a lottery the day before and then go into the city the next day.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
so lucky and I'll never take it for granted. Like it's just
special.
the thing ever. Who's the coolest person you've ever met backstage? I feel like I know what your answer is.
You know what I'm gonna say?
Wait, I feel like I do, but I don't.
Ariana Grande?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking actually.
We've met so many cool people. You know who came to the show? Abby Lee Miller.
Wait, I was always I saw your TikTok about when Abby Lee Miller came. Were you like a big Dance Moms girl growing up?
I just like loved watching it. You know, as like a kid growing up wanting to be a dancer, those kids were like, I mean, it was the most fun thing ever to watch.
Yeah.
So
and then there's always the people who were in the background and like I went to high school and they're like, I was in the background of an episode. I'm like, that is the biggest flex ever.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
From the rooftops.
She was so sweet. It was fun.
Yeah, no, those are 2 awesome people to meet. Like you brag about it all day long. Lastly, if you could sing a duet or like dance a duet with anyone in the entire world, who would it be and what song are you singing or what song are you dancing to?
Singing or dancing?
You get to pick.
Oh my God. I would love to dance a duet with Robin Herder. She to me is just like an icon. The way that she's dancing and singing the way that she does, all while being like a mom at home, is really admirable to me. And I just think she's brilliant. I've heard only like the most amazing things about her work ethic and that she's never marking in the rehearsal room. And I just think that would be so much fun.
Thank you so much for playing and being here. Everyone, go see Aunt Juliet if you haven't. And if you have, go again. Like, it is insane.
Come again. There's a lot of new cast members who are brilliant. Jaden, thanks for having me. This was so fun. It was so lovely to talk to you.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.